Live from Walnut Kills, California. Here we are on the Walnut Kills estate with another edition of LuchaWorld. I am Vandal, the Love Handle Drummond, or as Johnny Legend would prefer me to say, the baby bitch Drummond. And I am with Alfredo Esparza, who has a ton of news. He will be to the...
You know what I wanted to ask you first?
What's that?
Did you fill out a March Madness bracket?
What's a March Madness bracket?
NCAA tournament? Basketball tournament? You know what? Don't you do it in at work?
Oh, they do in work, but I never understand what they're doing. Okay. No, I
was just curious. I was just curious if you ever got into...
I usually give them a couple of bucks and say, fill it out for me. I have no idea what I'm doing. Do you know how I picked Super Bowl winners?
How?
The Pittsburgh Steelers. I love their helmets.
That's how you pick them?
Yeah, because the design of their helmet reminds me of the old, logos for an old TV station from the early 70s. And
I thought you had like a formula for picking college teams, like favorite mascot, favorite cheerleaders. That's what I use.
Favorite mascot would be a good way to go.
Yeah, that's usually
I like that. That is a good way.
It fails miserably, because especially when you're a UTEP Miners fan and you're rooting for a mascot with a giant... that looks like a giant miner.
That's one of many reasons why I do not gamble. Yeah. The only time I pay lotto is if my buddies at work are having a little lotto pool. And you know what I always thought was so funny about those lotto pools? At least at my work, or most places I worked, they only do it when the jackpot gets up to like $300 million.
Yes.
They're like, $3 million, chicken feed.
That's how we all
chicken feed. $300 million?
Yeah.
And then...
$1 million? How's that going to last us?
And then, exactly, yes, I can only buy one house with that. I
can only buy one house. Why do I want this?
And then the other thing that cracks me up is, okay, the odds of you winning are... You have better odds of... This is what I've heard. There's a study done. You have better odds of being bitten by a rattlesnake in downtown L.A. than winning the lottery. And... even though the people know what the odds are, I still see people getting steamed up. You know what sucks? If you take the winnings in one lump sum,
yes,
you're taxed extra. Yes. You are taxed extra, and it is a crime that the government can do. You're $300 million richer, you idiot.
Well, you're only $150 million richer.
Oh, that must hurt. That must hurt.
How are you going to buy your basketball elite team?
Yeah.
Right? All this, your favorite sports team?
How are you going to become an evil billionaire?
Yes. I always find that funny when you tell somebody, oh, you know that the lotto is like $1 million. Yeah, but you only get $500,000 after taxes. It's like, oh yes, like you have $500,000 where you. And
most of those people probably have some big mortgage to pay off. It's funny.
Yeah.
But that always cracked me up.
We don't have any brackets. Although I did
no brackets.
I filled out two. I have Florida winning one, and the other one Michigan State. Covering my bases. The Florida Gators and the Michigan State Spartans. They both have wacky mascots too, so...
Okay, then that's all it's about.
That's a bonus.
That's all about.
And I also picked Florida to beat Marco Corleone's Syracuse Orange purposely, just because I still have this like secret feud going with him for whatever reason that even he doesn't ignore.
That's awesome.
I'm still mad at him.
Don't you love being mad at somebody who doesn't know you're mad at them?
Yes.
I love it. That's fun.
He's a good guy. He's all right. He's a good guy.
There is a lot going on in Lucha.
Much of which you've missed, right?
The reason I said I'm going to be fielding questions to Fredo is I have been totally disconnected from the human race. Not really from the human race, but I've just been working on our new house, going to the gym. I've been doing a lot of reading lately, and then going to bed.
Like the life or something.
I know, isn't it weird? But no, I've watched the only wrestling I've watched in the last 2 weeks. There's two things. Paulina Carthaginian emailed me on Facebook and notified me, hey, there's some Lost Titanes in El Ring clips from 1972.
Who runs their music on Titanes? It's not them, or is it a company that they've created?
You mean all their theme songs?
Yeah, because I noticed on mine.
Well, actually, this is something I want to forward to you, is there was a whole podcast done where they interviewed the musicians who wrote the music in the early 70s.
Yeah, the only reason I'm telling you this, because remember you brought in a bunch of the videos that I uploaded to YouTube.
Yes.
And all of a sudden I got these, not strikes, because strikes are completely different, but copyright claims. for the music, which you just have to approve, and that's fine. They make their money off of that if they want to. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, wow, it's been a while for them to do.
They actually the album, the Titanes in the Ring album, the one that had the best, catchiest songs was produced in 1972. It's still
took them a while to get to it. To start figuring out that there's people making they're not making money.
Well, you know what? I gotta forward you the podcast because it's still the greatest irony of me.
Is this English or Spanish?
It's in Spanish.
Oh, Spanish.
Where they do a complete. It's like a 1 hour interview with the composer
of the
tunes. Where
they do podcasts in Argentina.
They do, believe it or not. Yes.
It's so weird that Mexico, I would expect there would be a ton of lucha podcasts. Mm-hmm. But there's still radio shows. There's radio shows, not necessarily podcasts.
Interesting.
They're making money. That's why.
Yeah, true.
The podcast, you have to create a subscription type of service.
That's true.
Yeah, that takes a little more effort.
And you'd either be doing it as a labor of love or...
it's
Yeah, well, these Titanes clips that were on there, most of them were without audio. And what it appears was a bunch of clips that were going to be used... as a TV commercial for the TV show. So they're just little snippets of the matches. They're not unlike, I don't know if you've ever seen those old 8mm films from the Olympic that somebody just...
I actually have one. I have that on DVD.
And since those cameras only could film for 5 or 7 minutes, you just got little snippets of the matches. That's what this is like. So while there were no complete matches, it was really fun to see... I felt like the guy at the end of Cinema Paradiso, where he sees all the lost clips of the movies.
Yeah, he's like...
That was edited. I know, it was a very sentimental moment for me. I'm a very histrionic, melodramatic wrestling fan.
Shed tears.
I shed tears.
He's on Facebook. If you guys ever wonder what he's doing on Facebook, he's usually watching his YouTube videos from Titanes on there. And
weeping. Weeping openly.
Speaking of weeping...
Weeping...
LA Park? No, I was just kidding.
Before I get that, I want to say the other thing that I watched. I'll do this briefly, but Joey Chaos's Facebook page, he wrote, "I cut my hair and I look like El Dande," and of course, his page got flooded with comments and photos of Bret Hart saying, what was the quote? Who are you to doubt El Dande? And I sat there, and of course, that was a funny line. That was hysterical, but it made me think, God, that's how they remember El Dandy. It's like WC.
So
yes.
So sad.
And so the first thing I did was I posted on Joey Chaos's page the Dandy versus Satanico hair versus hair match, the second one.
Yeah.
The one with that awesome screw finish, which normally I'd hate, but was so brilliantly done. And I want to say, fans of old school wrestling, look for the 1990 Dandy versus Satanico hair versus hair match. It's a classic. Hair versus hair matches were done so well back then.
They're still done pretty well.
They are still, I must say.
So, depending on who's in it.
It's kind of, there's a different philosophy around them.
Oh, yeah.
But,
well, you know what it is? They like to do short first two falls now.
Yes.
A lot. It's constant, nonstop first two falls. Don't mean jack. So
yeah,
especially, and actually it's more CMLL because AAA doesn't really do falls. They
right.
just do the one fall thing.
And the older matches, there's some good technical ones, but there's also a lot of just blood. Not bloodfest isn't even the right way to put it. Just brutal, like they're out for each other's blood
now. So
yeah,
because we're so PC now.
That's right.
Which I mean, I don't mind because I'm not really a blood type of person.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, there's still that. I could understand the interest in it.
I think blood.
I don't mind if it's not like a hardcore wrestling type extreme lucha match or whatever. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, I'm not into extreme. I think blood is
like
great.
If you're gonna, I'm not gonna get all excited if you're gonna use a staple gun on, or like barbed wire and wrap it around his head and that
doesn't do anything for me either.
On a blade, or hard ways.
Good old fashioned blood. It has this real tragic look because slitting your forehead.
It's so funny. I'm so against. It sounded so stupid. Just what I just said. I have a problem with staples and barbed wire, but the way you gig yourself is like just a blade. It's just as stupid as the...
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I cringe whenever...
stupid. It just looks stupider, the Extreme Lucha match than
Well, it makes it look...
Because you're hiding it. As doing a blade job, you're hiding the whole you're not showing it to the fans like
Exactly.
it's part of the story.
The most brilliant blade job I've ever seen in history was Sergeant Slaughter versus Pat Patterson. When Slaughter is catapulted to the outpost, as he's falling to the mat, he takes the blade out, gigs himself, and before he hits the ground, he has it back in his trunks. That was brilliant. And then he bled like a faucet.
What these guys do to their foreheads is insane.
It is. It is. Some people... Do you think it's like almost a fetish?
I kind of think so, because some of these guys even take pictures of it, like, look at my forehead.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, it's horrible looking. How do you pick up chicks with that?
We should have a convention where...
You gotta be married by that point, too.
We should have a convention each year where Dusty Rhodes and Perro Aguayo host it,
Yeah,
you know?
Viano we have, like, special guests every couple of years, like Viano's, like...
That's right.
Abdullah.
Abdullah gets a Lifetime Achievement Award.
All these old guys coming up, like... I think Negro Navarro has a little bit of it, too.
And Viano...
Although I wouldn't say shit to Negro Navarro.
Yeah, I wouldn't say shit to any of them. I'd just say, hey, look good to meet you.
Yeah,
you're cool.
great.
You're cool. You're okay by me.
You look pretty badass.
Okay, so... There's a ton of lucha news. Where do you want to start?
I guess we should start with Rey de Reyes, since it happened yesterday.
Yes.
Did you watch it?
Absolutely not.
You couldn't. It wasn't on anything. We basically just had to follow it on Twitter. The funny thing is that AAA is the promotion that's advancing, and they will at some point get to like where they're doing online stuff.
Their goal.
That's their goal at some point. But I mean, how is it that CMLL is on? They have their live shows
On Terra.
On Terra.
Yes.
And AAA still... we gotta follow AAA on Twitter. Although I will say this. The one big difference, like, for whatever reason, CMLL I think a couple weeks ago, they made the switch where they were gonna let the press department handle all their online stuff. So basically in the past, Alexis Salazar would take pictures and update the website. Well, now it's a press department. So now you have this group of people, and that includes Estrellita, by the way. And so you have all... Like, instead of just one person, you have like 4 or 5 people doing it, and they do less shit than one guy did.
Really?
And they're horrible at it. Like, AAA has gotten so much better because their webmaster, and I think it's more than one person handling their site. They actually update their Twitter account, then they put up the results, they put up pictures, they update their Facebook page, they update Twitter. They're like nonstop, like constantly bombarding you with all this information. Like if you talk about AAA, they'll retweet you, which is great. Like because you want to be social media. What's social media? You have to be fan friendly. CMLL will have Twitter. They'll be dead for like 2-3 days, not even mentioning anything.
And then just
nothing.
Pop up and say hi every now.
Hey, here's check out this show. Well, like just finding the shows on TV, it took a while for them to finally put up something that tells you where to find the shows. Yeah, which they've done. At least they've done that. But it's like. So AAA had Rey de Reyes. Couldn't watch it, but you could see a bunch of pictures that they put up. And the show actually had a ton of issues to begin with because Blue Demon Jr. was in one of the featured matches.
And I heard he had a no-show for some reason.
He was going to defend his Latin American title against Chessman. He no-showed the WWL shows from the week prior. And everybody started complaining about WWL. I guess there was a promoter or something that kind of called them a fraud. Right. And the WWL people, the one thing they do well is they do send out press releases. They let you know a lot of information. You know, lucha promoters don't really tell you anything in advance what's going on. So they do as much as they can. So as soon as this thing that I guess Blue Demon Jr. told somebody in the news that he was going to be in Rey de Reyes, the guy from WWL made sure to post the newspaper online. So it was posted from another promoter, and he said it wasn't the promoter; it was their press guy. Well, their press guy that handles it, who's really good at what he does too. So he's like, see, we're not the only ones that are going through this. Blue Demon's he's having a personal issue that he doesn't want to discuss. I don't know what it is, but apparently AAA didn't bother announcing it ahead of time. Oh Lord! Because this came out on Friday, they didn't bother announcing it, but they did film a video with Blue Demon Jr. saying that he would like to get a rematch for the title. The title of it was vacated. So they brought in Viano 4 to wrestle Chessman. No way. Which was a bloodbath of a match. Oh my gosh. And Chessman ended up winning, which is a good thing, you know? Chessman's really good. So the other no-show was Juventud Guerrera, who I think a week prior had mentioned that he posted an x-ray of his foot, saying that there was a problem with his foot. So then I think it was Saturday, he mentioned that his doctor didn't clear him to be on Rey de Reyes. They didn't announce he wasn't going to be on the show.
Oh, boy.
They had Ultimo Gladiador replace him later. That was announced. Well, actually, he didn't change it on this, but he replaced Juventus Guerrera. And then that was the other replacement. The other replacement was El Ejido was replaced by Alan Stone.
Oh my gosh! So
Alan Stone, who's been out for the longest amount.
So did Alan Stone wear tiny trunks and
did he do a dance
and swivel his hip?
I have no idea what's up with El Ejido, but I'm guessing there's something like. Maybe he's kind of just upset at the whole Conan thing or whatever. What
is the Conan thing with it? Conan's not high on him, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's pretty much. Well, Conan on Twitter, he has it depends on what mood or who you're talking to based on Conan. Is either his Twitter persona is Conan the character,
yes,
or Conan the Carlos Santiago
Espada.
Yeah. So I think sometimes when you interact with him, like if I interact with him, I'm talking to Carlos. Mm-hmm. But when it's El Ejido, Macias, Tejano, people within AAA, or people he doesn't like, it's Conan.
Right.
So basically he's been talking a lot of crap to El Ejido, and then El Ejido goes back to him. It's not just El Ejido, it's everybody. So, it just seems very uncomfortable. It's this weird, uncomfortable thing to read.
How funny.
But I don't know if it's that, or I'm guessing he might have been booked elsewhere, because these guys get booked everywhere.
Booked elsewhere, but Rey de Reyes, I mean, we're talking...
Yeah, and it ended up being that he was going to work the opening match, which was the mixed tag.
Right.
Which
is kind of his usual thing, right?
That's his usual thing. And the Technicals ended up winning. But what's been going on is Pentagon Jr. has been feuding with Fabi Apache and Drago. He's teaming with Sexy Star. So they issued a challenge for the mixed tag match, the titles. So then after that, they had the Cruiserweight match with Daga actually winning a match, which if you don't know, Daga very rarely wins. like his, I don't know if you remember, but I think you might remember 2 years ago we talked about Daga.
Yes.
In the Independence. And we were talking about how hot he was at that time.
Yes.
He was the hot shit at that time. Mm-hmm. Well, since that time, he's kind of just been the AAA job guy for the Perros del Mal group. So he wins this match, and right after he wins this match, Fabi Apache challenges him to a Cruiserweight title match. Daga, I guess, attacked her, and then Fabi Apache, all I see is a picture of Fabi Apache German suplexing.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I have it on the
beautiful.
page. I actually have it on the LuchaWorld page.
I love the really Apaches.
Good. But he beat he beat the most random quartet trio of he beat Argenis, Sin Cara's brother, Australian Suicide, who's actually pretty good, and Superfly, who's barely came back.
Yeah, guys who are not exactly pushed to the stars.
So he just clean sweeped all three of them. It wasn't one guy eliminated the other guy and then he eliminated the next guy. No, he eliminated all three.
He got to be a bona fide ass kicker. Yeah. So they put him over big before she kicked his ass.
Yeah, so then it's kind of funny because you think about it, a woman, any other woman does this and challenges, or any other promotion does a woman. I think the last person was maybe China.
Yes.
Versus Jeff Jarrett or somebody like that. And you could believe it because China looked like she was a badass.
Oh, exactly.
They were booking her as a badass. And Fabi isn't booked like a badass. But what you notice with Fabi is she's hands down the best worker in AAA.
And she's a hell of a better worker than China. And when she gets in the ring, she looks her and China are night and day.
She can work with guys and look.
Yeah.
Because she's worked with the Traumas. I think you know who they are.
Yes.
Navarro's kids.
Well, I remember years ago.
Well, she's worked the mixed tag matches, so it's...
Oh, totally, for years. Well, and also, I remember something when, Lady Apache was, the big thing about 20 years back.
20 years.
Crazy Boy, not
It's amazing, isn't it amazing to say Lady Apache 20 years back and she still looks great?
I know, she's amazing.
Still looks great, and maybe, 5, 6 kids later or something.
Yes.
She's always pregnant.
Yes, she's probably a grandmother by now, probably a great-grandmother.
She might be a grandmother.
And she looks amazing. She's in... Oh, I'm fans I am watching the German suplex. That's a great photo.
Yeah.
Props to the photographer who got it just right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, but Crazy Boy, I'm talking about the LA Crazy Boy, not the shitty Crazy Boy, the good worker Crazy Boy who used to work here in LA. have no idea whatever became of him, but he actually wrestled on some of the spot shows in CMLL in '91, and I was telling him, yeah, Lady Apache is just heads above all the other women wrestlers there, and he said, well, isn't it obvious? She was trained by a man, and she was trained with men, and they did not treat her like a woman. And he said, when I was talking to some of the other women wrestlers, they were either trained by a guy who is training him, saying, oh, this is a woman, I have to be careful with her, or they're training with other women, and the trainer is saying, like, oh, let's not be too rough, they're women.
Or like,
which is a very gentlemanly thing, but when you're in a profession like wrestling, I mean, you do have to train like a man.
Yeah, I mean, because you never know. And I think I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often now, because a lot of the women have to work with guys now. I mean, not necessarily WWE or like CMLL, but like in the independents and on AAA, like some of the other promotions that are more open-minded to that sort of
Right. If I was going to give a piece of advice to most women wrestlers, because I see a lot of women wrestlers on indies, here in the States. They're good, but I would say if I could tell them, go try to train with the Apaches, or even just wrestle the Apaches.
Just go to Mexico to work with the Apaches.
Yes, or if you could hook up with Manami Toyota, I think it's kind of like, have you ever seen people who took Spanish in high school and they can speak it awkwardly, but if they live in Mexico for a year, it's fluent.
A little more fluent. Yeah.
The indie girls here, I think, would be wrestling like nobody's business.
Yeah, if they train with Marcella, Amapola, Apache.
Exactly.
All of these
you would learn to be a wrestler.
You can tell like who trained with Virus, because it's like they'll even admit it's like, oh, Virus, okay. They're very good workers, That's like here, if I'm watching a tag match, I wouldn't say my record is perfect, but half the time I can tell if one of the teams was trained by Jesse Hernandez, because they do this old Black Orgman and Goliath psychology that still works today. Yeah. And Jesse Hernandez, I think, is about the only person who really teaches that anymore. You could tell, and even like Chaos's guys who he trains.
Yes.
You could tell they actually have to train with other people, because it's not just Chaos training them.
Exactly.
They train with like some of the Lucha guys, some of the other people that have actually done something.
Yeah, this is a great place to learn to wrestle, Southern California.
Yeah, that
and Chaos, Joey Chaos, the shows he's booking, I know I said this on the last podcast, but those shows in Bell Gardens are worth checking out. He books them well, and
they're online too, like on Ustream or something.
It's Ustream? Because I've never looked them up. I should.
I try to watch it, but Ustream is really like weird. Like depending on what you're using, like the service or whatever.
Like one day
it'll work well, and then all of a sudden it'll just work like shit.
It just crashes,
and it just screws up my computer.
Oh no!
It happens with Terra too. Like all this live streaming stuff, like always screws up my computer.
Oh wow!
I think it's the browser.
I wonder, because I remember I was surprised that when I watched the anniversary show on Terra,
that actually had no. I think it had.
I was going to say I had one glitch.
Yeah, early in I think the first match had a glitch.
Yes,
but the rest of the show was perfectly.
I was surprised because I was expecting to have to reload it over and over again. That was a really fun show to watch on Terra.
So let's get back to the Rey de Reyes show. Mm-hmm. Chessman beat Villano 4.
Okay.
Who replaced Blue Demon Jr., as I said. Then Steve Payne lost his hair in the cage match, the dome cage match. Mm-hmm. The dome looked a lot smaller than usual.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some of the guys couldn't because they had Hamburger Boy in the match.
Yes.
Niño Hamburguesa.
I love it.
But it's funny because Juventud Guerrero was replaced by Ultimo Gladiador, and it would be so much cooler if I actually watched the show, because I would be able to tell you what happened.
Yeah.
But all you know, Steve Payne lost the match. Phoenix beat him, which is a big win for Phoenix, because I mean, if he's a guy that they're going to push higher in the card.
So this is a genuine elevation for him, then.
Well, he's already. I mean, the guys he beat. It's not like a big name. It's guys who are moving up also. Because like Steve.
But
Payne,
it's a sign he's being elevated. Yeah.
And it's funny because Steve Payne, he got a haircut, but he didn't have long hair. It's like he just had a normal. I think he had like one of those mohawk type of things. Not a mohawk, but just like the certain.
I would say if somebody had
a faux hawk.
Yeah, if somebody had a faux hawk or something like that, if I was going to have the match, I'd try to make that faux hawk really stick out and
make it look a little more like amazing.
And then when you cut it, make it look really humiliating. Don't do a smooth bald cut, but make little patchy marks.
And then I made a joke on Twitter. I go, the funny thing is, Steve Payne's Mexican, so his hair's going to grow back by the time his next appearance is on AAA TV. Because it only takes 3 or 4 weeks for our hair to grow back, so...
It's true, and there's some wrestlers like Aguayo or Cavernario Galindo who have made a living out of losing their hair.
Casas has been doing it too.
Yes.
The Brazos, remember the Brazos? Every summer,
that's
Brazo
true.
de Oro would lose his hair.
And it seemed like
it was a summer haircut.
Is that my imagination, or were they always losing it to Hijo de Santo half the time?
Like somebody like that. They would always lose to somebody. It would suddenly be like this, like they wouldn't have any feud. Then all of a sudden, 2 weeks before, they'd have a feud with somebody, and all of a sudden, a hair match, Brazo de Oro, and everybody Brazo de Oro. After that match, they had the tag title match where Angelico and Jack Evans beat Hijo del Fantasma, Nicho, Psychosis, Aerostar and Drago, and the Inferno Rockers, which I'm guessing I
remember seeing the Inferno Rockers once and digging them.
Yeah, Apollo Valdez mentioned that the first 5 matches were really good, but the last 2 matches weren't very good.
We're just
Well, your typical AAA show, remember?
Yeah, this is
AAA,
true.
the main event and the semi-main event were never very good. Semi-main event was Cibernetico, Electroshock, and Psycho Clown, random trio, teaming up to beat Jeff Jarrett, Tejano Jr., and Mascara Año 2000 Jr., another random trio.
Yes.
And then the main event was Rey de Reyes final, where La Parka beat Zorro, Hijo de Perro, Aguayo, and Black Warrior. Now, if you know the history behind the whole Rey de Reyes and everybody predicting what was going to happen...
Which I don't, I must say.
Which is hilarious, because, as you know, a couple of weeks ago, Sin Cara... The shadow of Sin Cara debuted in AAA television.
Yes.
Or on a AAA show. So everybody assumed, since Black Warrior was the other surprise, that Black Warrior was going to win Rey de Reyes. Then everybody thought, well, if not him... to lead to a Sin Cara match with him. Like, Sin Cara's debut would be, Triple Mania or some big show, him beating that guy for the hair or whatever. The other guy would be Paraguay Jr., who's a longtime rival. And, who's the other guy? Zorro. Zorro, obviously, the only reason they would think he would win was maybe him. He's feuding with Macias. Maybe Macias would beat him for the right to challenge, because the winner ends up challenging for the AAA title, mega title. So then La Parka wins. And nobody can come up with a reason why would La Parka win. The only reason you could come up with is, one you could kind of come up with is, they need a face-to-face off against Tejano Jr., who's the champion.
Okay.
That makes sense.
That does make
sense.
sense.
But that doesn't really seem like a plan that they are going with, right? It doesn't... It's not something that they've really been building up to. So then, what other reason would La Parka win?
I have no idea.
Who won the Antonio Peña Memorial Cup last year? La Parka. Why does La Parka win these tournaments?
Does he threaten to walk if he doesn't win them?
No. There's actually a couple of reasons. One, the La Parka character is AAA's main character.
This is true.
So that's where they merchandise. They merchandise that guy. That guy's going to be their ticket seller.
And like I said, I'm so off the map. But last I looked,
he's already an established guy.
Yeah, and not only an established guy, but he's one of those established guys who he could just get in the ring and dance, and the fans will be happy.
But you're thinking about this as somebody who thinks of wrestling in a logical. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. I know exactly.
Don't you think if WWE has a guy like that who's an established star, who's already not really the guy that should be main event, Undertaker, he only shows up for one show. That's it.
Right. But it works. They
don't have him winning Royal Rumble to challenge for the WWE title. They have somebody else do that. Because Undertaker, that's his whole thing. He's going to win. They have, if they have an old-time guy like Ric Flair, he's not going to win a tournament to challenge for a title. He'll show up and work a program with somebody else. Because he's already a name. So then, the whole thing with Park is that he's a favorite of the Roldan family.
Yes, okay.
So he's always going to get pushed. So you'll have guys tell you, how they think Phoenix should win, or Zorro should win, or somebody else should win, who would get more over to build up for another storyline or an angle. But it's not that. La Parka basically is...
He's family.
He's family. So he's the guy, and he's the one that they want him... He's the one name that they know they can trust that will sell, merchandise or whatever. Because, that's where LA Park got started.
And is it where they can pretty much... Because I know there's...
It's a shame it's not LA Park that's winning all this stuff, by the way.
Yeah, it's true.
'cause
It's true.
He's the guy who actually should be getting all this stuff. But I mean, he's such a tough guy to deal with. It's
Well, that's what I was going to
Whereas
say.
this guy
you know, it's like I've said this a jillion times. I would rather have somebody easy to deal with who could draw a half a house than somebody who could draw a full house, but you can't rely on him to cooperate and maybe perhaps even no-show. What if he no-shows?
And that's a huge problem with a lot of the veterans in Mexico. They don't really... Like, you have a handful of guys who will do their job for somebody else, but it's like a job where it's like, okay, it's not really a job. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, it's a foul or like...
Well, I remember I was with a bunch of friends at an LA show in the 80s when Rene Goulet was always in the openers on the house shows, and somebody's saying, God, why did they keep using this guy? I don't want to see him anymore. And a guy I went to the show with, my friend Lloyd, said the reason they use him is he shows up on time, probably early, he doesn't bitch and complain, he helps out in the dressing room, he's reliable.
And that's how I think La Parka is. Like, he's the one guy who's they know is loyal to their promotion, and this is their way of thanking him. After that,
you know what? Actually, I don't have a problem with that. It isn't. Would you say it isn't logical? But I say props.
The only logical part of it would be if he's going to be challenging Tejano Jr., which makes sense because he's a babyface working against the guy who's the top heel in the. And if you thought, okay, this guy will draw with the championship, I don't know if that would be. But then
the
that's
case,
a weird thing. Like they book a. This is what's so weird with AAA and CMLL. They'll have a world champion, but the world champion isn't the guy who's drawing. Like, he's not the main guy. Like, Terrible is in Dos Leyendas working the opening match.
Well, that's similar to what I spoke about in the last podcast in the book by Greg Oliver and Steve Johnson when they talked about Whiskers Savage in Texas. The way they described it, the guy probably knew less than a dozen holds, but he was a huge draw, and it wasn't Lou Thez when he came to town who was selling out the arenas. Whiskers Savage, who carried a rooster into the ring.
So where would Lou Thez be booked, though? He was booked in the main event, though.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. That's the difference.
And the gimmick, and
That's the difference, though. You don't see John Cena working an opening match.
Right, exactly.
On WrestleMania.
No, you're right. When Lou Thez wasn't,
Tejano Jr. is working the semi-main event in a trios match that's a throwaway.
Right.
A throwaway match. The world champion, think about that. Like,
in fact, you know how they played off the gimmick with Whiskers Savage is, of course he wouldn't ever wrestle Thez for his championship. The poor guy would have gotten eaten alive by Thez. But they used his country bumpkin gimmick, which was performance art. He would walk around the streets of Houston barefoot with his mutt dog on a leash. But the gimmick they used is something like, I don't care about them championships. I just like to get in there and tussle around.
What I'm trying to explain to you is, where would they book him? Like, on a card? Where would he get booked?
Oh, he was up there.
Up there. He was treated like... That's what I mean.
Yeah, he wasn't in the opener.
That's what's so weird about it. Like, when you're watching guys nowadays, it's like these guys, like, who are main event guys, are booked in the opening matches, and it's like there's so many other guys you can book in the opening match. It makes
odd.
It makes very little sense. You know what I mean?
Well, the same way in the WWE pay-per-views, how they open a pay-per-view with a world title match.
Well, there's two titles.
What the hell?
This was when there was two titles.
Yeah, but that's still silly.
Yeah. Well, and it's the and then they ask why SmackDown doesn't get a bigger crowd.
Yes,
that's the champion for that show. Remember, that was back when the world title was the SmackDown title. Remember, that was like that. That was like,
no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
It's like, why? Because they would have Del Rio working the opener. It's like, why would people give a fuck about SmackDown if you're working the world title?
Why even bother having a title?
Yeah,
why not?
Now they have Randy Orton as holding both belts as a main event guy. But it's like there's some weird shit that goes on with booking nowadays. It just makes no sense.
It's funny. Remember earlier when you were saying about how the one press person in AAA worked better than a bunch of people? Yeah. That almost seems like a standard rule in wrestling. When you have one or two people in control, things go smoothly. If you have too many people involved, everything gets cluttered. It does, and I think there's something to that.
Yeah, it's just there's just some of the stuff they come up with, and that's the AAA Rey de Reyes show. I'm sure it's going to be really good just because the first 5 matches sound.
Oh yes.
But then like that semi-main event. It's like, why keep bringing in Jeff Jarrett and doing this stuff? It's like, there's nothing to it. I just don't get it.
Probably, I mean, well, again, as La Parka is family, Jeff Jarrett,
I understand.
They're probably thinking they're going to be working with him in the future. They want to keep him happy. He wants them to be happy.
I'm just kind of curious if they're going to if any of these matches are going to be really good. Because that's the one thing that I've noticed with AAA, like their big shows. Sometimes their big shows have underwhelming matches, because you end up hearing guys tell you in Mexico that they're really good, but a lot of the fans, like a lot of the guys who cover lucha in Mexico, like I think they're a little more into the American style.
Yes.
So then, like, when we watch, it's like, it's actually not that good. Like, it's just an American style of wrestling. It's like, whereas we marked out over Rush and Negro Casas beating the shit out of each other.
Oh, exactly.
And they don't. It's like, they don't really, like,
the reason I enjoy CML more than AAA, and this is not a knock on AAA.
Yes, it is.
AAA who suck. No, it's AAA is very modern wrestling.
Yeah.
But a CMLL is almost a hybrid between today's High Spot Fest and yesterday's brutal slug
CMLL has
fests.
some really bad shows, too, so.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying so much the quality, but just I mean, when I was a kid and watched wrestling, you had bad shows also.
Yeah.
But CMLL is like a hybrid between the spot fests and some good brutal slug fests, like you saw in the old days. And I like that.
Yeah, you'll get one good match every so often on AAA, on CML's show. AAA, you do get some good stuff too, but it's usually their regular TV shows there's no difference. Like their regular TV shows, like you get the really good match on regular TV, and then like their what would be considered a pay-per-view quality show. It's like, this is just like your TV show. Like there's nothing that really came out of it that's different.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the difference? It's just the same thing. So this Friday is CMLL's Dos Leyendas show, where they're going to honor Sin Caras and Salvador Lutaroth.
And I'm going to ask you the question that you said everybody is asking you, including myself earlier. Will the entire show air on Terra.com?
Well, as of right now, we don't know, but I'm sure we'll find out in a couple of hours.
Because I am high on the thought of watching Rush versus Shocker.
Well, worst case, we end up getting the first 4 matches, which hasn't been the case for the last couple of weeks. Because they've been doing the National Parejas Increíbles tournament.
Okay.
Incredible Pairs tournament. So
where Rudo teams with the Technico, right?
Yeah. They changed the format for a couple times. When they first started it, it was a territorial type of thing. Like they would have teams representing Mexico City, teams representing Guadalajara. They had a team in teams from Monterrey. I think I think they might have had a team from.
I like that concept.
They had some other. I think it was mostly that Guadalajara, La Laguna, which is where. And then they had Puebla. I think at one point too, a couple of guys from Puebla. Guys from Puebla, like CML guys from Puebla, not guys in Puebla who came in and worked the show. But that's the way, and it worked great. It was amazing because people are very patriotic, very
to their hometowns. That's neat.
So they changed that to just the Rudo Technico teaming up, not necessarily a territory. It still kind of keeps a little of interest because they come up with these really cool like matchups. And last year, if you recall, even though nobody knew what was going to be the main event in the anniversary, CMLL had already hinted to it that Dos Leyendas show when they had the final of the national at that tournament. Because it was Sombra Volador versus Atlantis at Ultimo Guerrero.
Okay, yes.
So that was what happens in that ends up happening in the anniversary.
Exactly, we all remember that.
So this year was Maximo and Rey Escorpion as a team versus Atlantis, and it was supposed to be Mr. Niebla. But Mr. Niebla has been ill the past week or so, or prior to this.
Legitimately ill? Like,
who knows?
You don't know if it's a working ill.
So they had Euphoria replace him. So I kind of think that what happened was that they were going to do Mr. Niebla versus Atlantis at the anniversary.
Oh.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't have anybody telling me this stuff. I think Ultimo Guerrero might have backed out of it.
That would be cool. I'd be up for it. I mean,
but I don't think I don't know. Maybe they can go back to it again. But I kind of get the feeling that maybe Mr. Niebla maybe backed out of the match itself, and they decided not to put him in the tournament. I don't know.
I wonder.
Because I think maybe Rey Escorpion versus Maximo is going to be a hair match. If they do Negro Casas versus Rush, I think that's going to end up being in the anniversary.
That's one that would actually draw.
And I think Maximo versus Rey Scorpion could be in the anniversary, or they'll do that before. Somehow those two hair matches will switch, or they'll do both at the anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow.
Cool.
So I don't know about Terra to tell you.
We'll
to
see.
Be honest, yeah.
But I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
Terrible is working the opener, like, which is hilarious. They have the final of what I was telling you, the tag tournament. Then they have Marcelo versus Dallas in a hair match, and Rush versus Shocker in a hair match.
Cool.
And you haven't been watching the Rush Shocker feud, have you?
No, I haven't, and I should be.
Yeah, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're missing some.
I am ashamed of myself.
You're missing some good stuff.
Now, here's my question. I know everybody is a little gun-shy with Shocker just having...
Maybe no showing?
yeah. Well, his on and off again problems.
Issues,
yeah. Is he been kind of walking a straight line for a while?
That's the thing. How come Negro Casas 2 weeks ago has an arm injury that can't wrestle?
Mm-hmm.
Then suddenly he's back wrestling again. I mean, and feuding with Rush again. The feud with Rush is going to continue.
He's trying to imitate.
Maybe he's just there just as a backup in case Shocker no shows.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. You know what? You're probably right.
Maybe that's.
See, I thought he was just trying to imitate Triple H and look ridiculous by breaking a limb and then coming back next week.
You never know.
He says, "I want to be like Triple H."
I don't think Triple H has ever faced the anger and rage of Rush.
Rush is way cooler than Triple H on his best day.
Anybody that's tried to injure Triple H hasn't been Rush's level of anger.
Exactly. I want to say, I'm going on the record saying this. Rush is the phenomenon of the 21st century. This guy is cool.
I think somebody asked, I don't know if they asked Dave Meltzer or Dr. Lucha, but I know it was on their website, if Rush would get considered by WWE, if it would work. And I'm like, no, it wouldn't.
No, of course not. Of course
he's
not.
He's Mexican, first of all.
One, if he's Mexican, they'd probably try to bill him as a Puerto Rican, and they'd put a sombrero on him because Puerto Ricans wear sombreros. You're right. Cut his hair. They'll cut his hair.
They'd Samsonite him, like they'd fuck him up like that. Rush if you just took him the way he is, and that's where WWE is all screwed up because they get writers. They don't ask people who know a certain wrestler. They don't go and ask, hey, how do you think we should book Rush if we brought him in? Because if you brought Rush in the way he is, he'd be great.
He'd be the coolest thing, but they wouldn't do that.
An angry guy.
They'd repackage him.
Who gives a fuck if he doesn't speak English? You have billions of dollars to write subtitles and shit like that.
Oh yeah. They'd call him El Amigo or something.
No, keep the Rush. Well, they have to change the Rush name because apparently that would probably be an issue.
They call him Rush Limbaugh or something.
Some sort of, but just let him be angry. Have him scream at the people.
He's the coolest thing today.
Admirals and stuff like that.
No, I love when people ask if this luchador will work in WWE. Anything with even the slightest Latin flavor, WWE screws up. When they turned Alberto Del Rio babyface,
even Del Rio isn't what he used to be.
Yes, and remember how embarrassing it was? Wow, it was practically like they were saying, "Wow, this Latin guy, look how Latin he is, and look how these Latins need a hero." It's just
that tells you how great Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero were. Well, Eddie Guerrero. First of all, Eddie Guerrero, actually Rey Mysterio too. They're both not really considered Mexican. They're Mexicans that are kind of American.
Yeah,
they're kind of raised in an American type of setting. So it's like that wasn't. They don't fit that's what people don't understand. When you start asking about why would Sombra work, and I was like, no, none of them would work. None of them are American.
Yeah, and they're not brighted.
They're
not brighted enough to do what they did in the 70s and get a mouthpiece for somebody who doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
Remember, when you had somebody who couldn't speak, what did you do? Get them a manager, do the talking. Yeah.
Even a horribly spoken English translating type of guy, you have the other Mexican translating for him. You would have him be the leader of the group. It's that's what you did. But it's none of those guys would get. If they gave them if they just used them the way they're used where they're at, they'd be perfectly fine. And I don't know. Also, I would guess what's Rush's height? Maybe 6 feet, 6 feet 2 inches.
Yeah, they'd probably consider him a cruiserweight there.
He'd be
yeah,
short. He'd probably be too short to scare the shit out of certain guys. So we should probably talk about the big story of the last couple of months, Sin Cara.
yes, and it's amazing to think that Sin Cara is a big story.
He didn't even show. Well, speaking of all this stuff that we're talking about WWE, Sin Cara. So a couple of people asked me if they're like, is WWE doing anything about Sin Cara? Like, they're like, why is he showing up? Why is all this stuff happening? Is WWE doesn't care, or are they? I go, well, you know, first of all, those who know aren't saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
They are actually doing stuff like to make sure that they're actually threatening people to make sure that he doesn't he doesn't get booked or.
I mean, WWE is
WWE.
okay.
So it's not like they're not doing it, that people aren't really bringing it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like, because there's been a couple of flyers that came out, and I was told immediately afterwards that they had to be removed because of
they were advertising Sin Cara.
The legal issues that the Sin Cara and the promoter. Mm-hmm. The only thing is that what Sin Cara is doing, this is where it's really fucking up with Sin Cara. Instead of saying that instead of just telling the promoter, Sin Cara on Twitter, horrible idea. Mm-hmm. Horrible idea. Like Sin Cara.
Oh, totally.
Horrible idea.
In fact, any wrestler on Twitter is a horrible idea.
Except maybe I can't really think of it.
Marco Corleone.
No, I can't think of anybody who's like really tame. Well, you know, Jeremiah Jr., guys like that. They know how to use
guys who are mellow and guys who use it fun instead of
promote their shit
promote their shit instead of talking shit.
Yeah, and then deleting it the next day. Yeah, because everybody's gonna find out. So Sin Cara, as part of this deal, has to say he's never been promoted. He's never been talked to about those flyers that disappeared. Mm-hmm. To him, he was never part of that.
Okay,
that's his public opinion.
That he had nothing to do with that.
Nothing. He wasn't talked to. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know. They're all lies.
Right.
It's a fraud. His word is that those are fraud. The real truth is that promoter jumped the gun talking about the shows.
Right.
Somebody in WWE caught wind of it, and they're all getting in trouble over it.
Brother.
So that's the whole thing right now. And there's more people that are getting in trouble besides Sin Cara and other people. There's a lot.
I was gonna say, I think you mentioned there's a 90-day no-compete deal that he's supposed to ride out.
Yeah, so...
And I was saying, why not just ride it out? God knows the guy needs to be healing.
So basically, all those flyers you saw him appear in mid-April, or that it's showed up recently, will be popping up again, like in mid-April again.
Gotcha. And everything will be
and then all of a sudden this fraud isn't going to be a fraud. They
should use his injuries as like a silly storyline. Like every match he breaks something, and he comes in with a new cast or sling every week.
He has no injuries. That's the problem. Like this is the other problem. Like, why not just wait?
Yes.
This whole thing, he got paid. I'm pretty sure he made enough off of WWE where he could take some time off.
Oh,
90
exactly.
days, wait it out. Do some autograph signings at your gym. Mm-hmm. Maybe show up at autograph signings at random indie shows. Don't get carried away promoting this. Don't start booking yourself on these shows and then making these guys look like they're fucking the liars in this whole thing.
Damn.
Because you have all these other people that are basically accepting that they're going to come off as liars.
Amazing.
They're actually okay with it, which is even worse. It's like this whole mess. Like the whole thing is like.
It's like you said. Sometimes we think too logically. It's like you don't know what people are thinking sometimes.
And that's the whole problem with AAA, that they showed the shadow. Mm-hmm. So then everybody wants people who are covering Lucha to tell them. Because I had a guy who told me, are you serious? That's Sin Cara, because I haven't seen anybody mention it. Mm-hmm. Of course you're not going to see anybody mention it. Dave Meltzer hasn't written anything about it. Mm-hmm.
Of course not, yes.
I have no idea why. I'm guessing it's because Conan must have told him not to say anything. Mm-hmm. But certain the
word is out, though.
The word is out.
Yes.
Everybody knows it's him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that
this is the modern internet age. Everybody has internet. Everything gets out before you intend it to.
The funny thing is, those flyers came out, and if you notice, Averno's on those flyers, and he got in trouble over it too.
Oh my god.
Only it's not his fault.
Wait.
He doesn't know what's going on. Like
What? Wait. So he was advertised, but he's not in AAA right now.
He's not. No, this isn't the AAA thing. This is our independent show.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
The AAA thing is completely different.
Gotcha.
This is a different situation, but
my mind's on a different page.
Averno's getting, and it's like CMLL isn't going to be happy about this. why are these promoters jumping the gun and promoting this stuff if Averno's still working for CMLL? Why not wait to let all this stuff resolve itself? Then promote it. I mean, it's amazing because lucha promoters this is what happens. We get pissed at lucha promoters for releasing the flyers a week early. Remember, we always get pissed about that. Or days prior to the show. Yeah. And when they do it well in advance, they fuck it up even worse. It's amazing. So the whole Averno thing is like a mess too.
Yeah, promoters are not...
Which has basically become like this whole thing, a hush thing. Now everybody has to hush about this thing too. So Averno's like in limbo right now.
Wow.
Like if you see like... He's still in CMLL, but it's a limbo type of thing where it's like he can't really say anything.
He's just kind of floating. He says nothing, see no evil, hear no evil, see...
So basically all these surprises that AAA... Like if you've seen AAA surprises lately, Black Warrior was one. Then Gronda 2.
Okay.
The Gronda 2 or the Black Warrior one was supposed to be Maximo.
Ah, okay.
Maximo backs out. Maximo backs out all the time.
Oh, so this wasn't the first time they tried to court him?
They've tried to court him at least the last 2 years, I think.
Wow.
But he's not really good. He kind of understands what happens is CML gets paid by New Japan for their shows, those Fantastic Mania shows.
Yes.
They make a lot more off of that. See, the thing is, like, if you're not a main event guy in pro wrestling, you're not really making that much money.
Right. You gotta either just love the fact that you're wrestling or be.
And I love Black Warrior was on a show that the Sera Caída show, and he was asked if there's any plans for one of his sons to start, or any of his sons to start wrestling. And he's like, I've thought about it. And this is Black Warrior. Black Warrior is a guy who just admits he's a rebel. He's a hippie.
Yes.
He lives the hippie style, as Ali Park mentioned. And he said his plan is that he's thought about having his sons wrestle as Hijo de Black Warrior or Black Warrior Jr. He's like, but the thinking of his is that he wants his sons to be educated first, have a career.
Kind of like Ray Mendoza did with his kids.
Have a career, and then view wrestling as a hobby.
That's great. That's how I think anybody should approach it.
Because that's what you have to think, like the Dave Meltzer thing with the Observer. He didn't go into it thinking that was his job. That was his hobby.
No, he had no intention of making it a career. His hobby. Yeah,
it became his.
He was a sports writer.
See, and that's how you have to think about it. So then, once you realize you've made it, that's when you could turn it into a job, and that's basically what.
See, I think that's
how more people in wrestling have to think about how they're doing certain things.
Yeah, I think everybody should have backup plans because it's such an unreliable career, and I've known people back in the 80s who, just. I know of 2 people who dropped out of high school to become pro wrestlers and regretted it.
Yeah.
You don't put your eggs all in one basket when it's a career like pro wrestling. And I know there's a bunch of people going to say, oh, you're either in it all the way or not in it at all. It's in your blood. You're a brother. Bullshit, And
that's what happens with like when you're thinking about all these guys who are going to jump from CMLL to AAA. Usually it doesn't go the other way because AAA doesn't really have a lot of guys jumping to CMLL either. But I think a lot of the CMLL guys realize that if they leave CMLL, it might be closed. Because if you think about it, the only guys who actually were accepted going back and forth were Hector Garza.
And I know
Hector Garza. This is my thing with Hector Garza. I think he was one of those guys who could who was a people person first and foremost. And I think there's a lot of there has to be people in those promotions. Maybe not just men or women who just thought he was a good-looking dude, and that's enough to get over. You know what I mean?
As long as you get over, yeah.
And not just that, but I mean, like I was telling you about La Parka. Every promoter has a favorite. I'm guessing Garza was a favorite of the people who were in charge of CMLL the last 15, 20 years, where he could go back and forth and had no problem. But I mean, other guys...
Well, that's the thing. If you leave CMLL, I'm sure it's going to be in the back of your mind of, does Paco like me still? It sounds like you would want to leave on the very best terms you could.
Like Hijo Fantasma, when he left, this is a guy who's educated. This isn't like some dumb jock or anything. This guy's educated.
Right, this is somebody who could figure out something to do if wrestling ever...
He's not going to... And then there's the other thing. His dad's part of the Boxy Lucha Commission. He could always go back at some point. I doubt that's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
Considering what he said on Twitter, the stuff he says on Twitter, he's not coming back.
What kind of stuff has he said on Twitter?
Well, he's one of the guys who talked about how disorganized CMLL is, and how like there's really no control over. He says it's night and day in AAA to CMLL. Of course, as a person watching it, you don't really see it.
Exactly.
Like AAA just looks as disorganized as CMLL.
Exactly.
The only thing is like there's more being put into AAA to become a bigger business.
Yes.
Like AAA has worked out deals with like a hotel hotel. Like they've worked out a deal with the whole US thing that they're doing, that whole AAA USA type of thing, and they worked out a merch deal. The merchandise.
And where CMLL just really wants to stay CMLL, stand their ground, just be where they are.
But it's not something you really hear about.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you're like, AAA, CMLL has they have a tour bus now. CMLL has tour bus.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, like for fans. Like if you've seen how packed
I'm amazed they've done that.
If you see the shows on Fridays,
yeah,
they're a little more packed because they actually have tour buses that go. That's their whole job. Like they go.
That is actually a great idea.
And they have like 2 or 3 wrestlers. The press person. I'm guessing that's why the press guy's struggling.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Because the press people are part of the whole thing, but it's still like.
And that has brought up attendance.
It kind of looks like there's more people.
That's great. That's a really smart idea.
They do things that and it works, but they don't really like the press conferences, they don't really do as much as like you would expect.
Well, it sounds like AAA is thinking international, where they're just kind of thinking, look, our hometown. Yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah, it's still a. Yeah. So the whole Averno thing is like.
Well, that'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
See, the thing about Averno, since he's like one of Mystico's, like if you notice, all the guys who are joining. AAA are rivals of Sin Cara from the CMLL days. That's why Averno kind of falls into the whole category. But that's like Conan said, you never know who these guys because they get other. They have the whole New Japan deal. They have other things.
Yeah, if I was CMLL, even if I wasn't on the top ring, I think I would. Try to stick around in hopes that maybe I'll be elevated, whether it's a realistic.
Averno's a main event guy.
Yeah.
We should talk about Octagon leaving.
Now that's news. That's probably even a bigger news story than the Sin Cara story.
Really?
Yes.
He's old now.
Yeah, he's old, but for somebody to be with a promotion that long. Yeah.
So
he's the only person except for Trophy Casas.
Trophy Casas, the living ones. Yeah, because Conan left for a brief period.
Yes.
And the Roll Down family, obviously. But he's working now as an independent. He's trying to work the whole Fuerza Guerrera rivalry program, like offering that as a deal to like promoters throughout Mexico. I'm not sure if the U.S. they're going to do that.
Is this just kind of his way of winding up his career, or
no? It doesn't sound like he's trying to wind it up. He just wasn't getting booked.
Oh, really?
But the funny thing is, AAA's been doing like so many surprises lately, and if CMLL guys aren't going to be jumping at an alarming rate. I'm guessing Octagon's going to come back at some point.
Wow.
I mean, they were doing surprises like they had Gronda too make a surprise appearance. I mean,
boy, what a surprise!
You're like, the funniest thing.
Surprise or shock?
The funniest thing was like I wrote about that on my Facebook page,
yes,
the LuchaWorld Facebook page, and Gronda original Grun XXX writes, "That's not me," and I'm like, dude, I know it's that I love Gronda too, but I didn't reply because it just seemed. Yeah,
you should have wrote back, yes, it is.
I thought about
I just misspelled your name.
Yeah. Well, he wrote it in Spanish. He wrote something a little longer. That's not the gist of it. But I was just laughing because
oh my god!
I was like, dude, what? First of all, I'm glad he found my Facebook page.
That's cool.
That's cool. When I'm surprised, like I've seen like some wrestlers like the Facebook page, and it's like, whoa, this guy found the Facebook page.
That's always cool. Yeah. How can you not get a rush off that?
You mark out all.
Oh, totally. Stuff. My mark-out moment recently was when I heard about Negro Casas being injured. I've been so kind of disconnected. I thought, please let this be a working angle, because I thought.
And then you're like, he's wrestling again.
Well, no, because my thought was, if he's injured at this age, he'll probably retire soon, and I hope he never retires.
I don't think he's going to retire until he's 60.
I think he just loves the biz so much.
He did an interview. I think we might have talked about this. He did an interview where, when he won the Leyenda...
was that the one where he actually got really emotional?
Yeah, where he got emotional, and he said that he just hopes that as long as he can work and the fans accept him, he'll continue. And I mean, he's younger than Navarro and all those guys, so he's going to be around for a while.
Yeah, he's in my mind. He's the greatest.
We were talking about the matches I was recommending you watch, and I told you about Hechicero.
Yes, you were telling me about him.
He had this really good showing, like I think last Sunday.
Yes.
Go out of your way to watch this. Anybody listening, go out of your way to watch this. This is just an amazing like performance by a guy who just turns like a whole show around. Like this show looked like it was going to be like a boring. Like if you look at the lineup, you're looking at a lineup that looks like it's just going to be like one of those
big zero
Sunday shows where it's like just a throwaway Sunday show.
Right.
Probably would have gone to like a lucha show here in LA instead, you know. And it's him teaming with Nitro and Hooligan. Who are the Tuareg who bring in that girl Iris.
Yes.
Which I was kind of like hoping that Iris would do like something stupid. She does something really dumb every so often.
No way.
She had this spot like a couple of weeks ago. This wasn't this match, but it was a couple of weeks ago, where she they do where they do they pull the other guy towards her, and then like the other guy is supposed to get in front of her.
Yes.
Like uses her to protect her. Well. She like mistimed it, and like instead of like she moved out of the way when the guy moved, but then she took the bump off her the guy who hurt the guy she was managing. She took a bump off
of him.
Yes.
Oh my god.
It was like this. She always comes up with like the dumbest like bump, but
you're almost looking forward to it because you know what's going to happen.
Because I mean, it's funny because they like shorten her gear a little more, so it's like she's very like
nice to look at.
Yeah. Well, she covers her face, so it's like how I don't know how nice she is. But I mean, for a girl like you're just it's just one of those things where it just cracks me up. So this match is basically them versus Leono. I don't know if you've watched Leono, but he's probably one of the worst.
Yeah, he's lame.
Promotion. Yeah, Starman, who's very average, although he was really he's a fun. Like, if you're into, like, just traditional lucha...
I think I've only seen him once, yeah.
He's a fun guy if you're just into traditional basic lucha.
Right.
But he can be a little boring if you're watching him a lot. And then Metallico, who's...
Yeah.
Metallico, who's basically... My highlight of him is, like, he comes into the ring to, like, this techno music. And the techno music always reminds me of Alex Wright's music. And remember, I always think of that dance where he does
love that.
Where he does that.
That was awesome.
So, but he's really pretty good. He's another guy who like Starman, who's really like traditional worker. Like if you've seen him like 1,000 times, you're gonna find him boring,
right?
Depending on the opponent. But he can suddenly like if you're into like traditional like just the old school wrestling, you'll like.
He's got it.
You'll like him. So he's working with Hechicero. Hechicero puts him in this move, and the guy legit can't break out of the hold.
Like it's just a standstill.
Like the guy just is like stuck. So he actually breaks the hold. So then this guy Rey Hechicero does this reverse monkey flip. Basically the monkey flip, you know how it's like you
jump on his thighs and
his legs, right? The legs,
yes.
And then you fall backwards. Well, this guy is holding him. He does the monkey flip. Only he sends Metallica, instead of going like back first, he sends him face forward.
Oh, how cool!
Yeah, let me look for it. I'll show you the. I know Cubs fan has. Yeah, he's been doing the animated GIFs since I.
That's very cool.
I do the updates so much, like I do the live updates of the shows. So he does this whole thing where he sends animated GIFs of the whole thing.
Yeah,
that match is really good. Like, I would recommend watching that match.
While you're looking for that, do we know when will be the best place to catch the Rey de Reyes? Is it just on straight TV, or do you think it'll be on internet?
It'll be on YouTube. On AAA will put it up on YouTube.
Okay.
On their site, the Lucha Libre AAA.
Okay.
They're really good about that. Their webmasters are really good at that stuff.
Okay, very cool.
Then the other match a week prior to that was Dragon Rojo Jr. versus Sombra for Sombra's title.
Which you were telling me was very
first
good.
Two falls were really nothing. Mm-hmm. Then they have like this long 30-minute third fall. Really good with them just busting out a lot of stuff.
Nice.
And I'm not a big fan of like the whole doing every move in the book type of thing.
But there's exceptions.
Yeah, well, these guys needed it too because it's Dragon Rojo Jr.
Yeah.
Come on, it's like you gotta expect him to be a little bit. He's not as he's very basic, you know. He's not like Pulvera.
He had to show his versatility.
Yeah. His whole thing was power bomb stuff like that. So it's like, so Sombra actually did a lot of stuff, but I mean, you could tell these guys trained together a lot. Like they're
right.
They basically grew up in business together, so they're familiar with each other. Then what else is there? That was really the other match that I thought was. You wanted to know more about Octagon, or you don't really care enough about it?
Well, no. About the only thing I want to know is what do we know? Yeah, obviously he's working an angle with Fuerza. Do we know why he left, or
because he wasn't getting booked for anything?
Wow, that's odd.
He hasn't been getting booked for anything, so he basically got tired of it.
Gotcha.
That's the only reason. Because he was very nice to them about it. Like
it's surprising that they wouldn't have tried to remedy that after this many years of smooth sailing. It's so rare.
Parka and Octagon's another, like, even the
like again, he's like family.
Just merchandise alone, I would think they would keep him. Yeah. So I think they're probably going to keep him at some point.
Okay.
Oh, and he also does. Hechicero also does this thing where he does a swinging Cobra Clutch.
Oh, sweet!
He gets the guy in the Cobra Clutch, and actually
that was like years ago. Coloso Colosetti.
The first one and the second one. The first one is the Cobra Clutch.
Okay.
And the second one is the reverse monkey flip.
Oh, that monkey flip's sweet. I dig that.
And the other one's
that Cobra Clutch reminds me like in the early 70s, Colosetti would do a swinging sleeper hold that looked so...
You know what I think it is?
And this was the 70s. It looked so bitchin' back then. It was like...
Guerrero Maya Jr. had mentioned this on a show that they were asking about how his style is so different to the CMLL Technicos.
Right.
He said part of the reasons that he doesn't try to do a lot of the current stuff, he tries to watch a lot of the older wrestling and try to learn from other older wrestlers.
That's great.
The move sets that they do, and he tries to bring that back and make it a little more. And I think that's what's happening with Hechicero.
I'm glad. Oh man,
I love how I put it at the recorder instead of my. I'm trying to point at the iPod for the pictures, and
that's great. No, seriously, because it frustrates me. You know, I know you don't go back to the old days as they were. You don't recapture them, but I love it when young guys still realize there's things they can learn from old wrestling. That, like, there's things you don't see today.
Yeah.
But if you go back in the annals of video history, you can still learn something that does work.
Well,
I think that's awesome.
I remember when you brought the tape for you brought one of those '80s lucha tapes, and I think I told you right afterwards because you had left. Mm-hmm. And I even sent you text messages to your phone.
Yes,
where a guy did I think it was Mochocota's match where they did a reverse Frankensteiner, where instead of just doing the Frankensteiner, the guy to the back, he did the back instead of going forward. It was the guy with his back.
Yes.
Backwards. And I said, no, I haven't seen somebody do that recently. Then all of a sudden, I see Volador Jr. and Sombra doing it.
Wow.
Who are perfect for that because that's basically all they do.
Yes, yeah.
They do a lot of crazy shit like Canadian destroyers and stuff like that. Front crackers, back crackers, side crackers.
Damn. Firecrackers.
You know what I was going to ask you?
Yes.
You being a wrestler, when you've taken a tope, you've caught a tope suicida, right?
Oh, lots of them, yes.
And you've also done a tope suicida.
Yeah, I usually prefer to do a plancha, like a slingshot.
Okay.
The pescado or just off the... I don't do topes that well.
When a guy hits you with a tope, what direction do you set up to catch him or to be a base for him?
I just reach out and I picture him just however he comes.
Chest, right?
Yeah, chest. I just reach out my arms. That's all I do. I catch him.
Would you ever go up to your side?
Fuck no. It could hurt me and him.
You Perot does that all the time.
What?
Yes, he's done that every time.
I don't claim to be a great wrestler, but I catch the guy when I
can't believe it, and it is it pisses me off when I see this stuff. He did something else too that really annoyed me. But this is the worst shit I've ever seen. I've never seen a guy it'll happen.
Yeah.
If a guy hits you a tope and you're not expecting it, because there's some guys who do
accidents happen. That's different.
Happen.
That's different.
But this guy actually moves his arm so the guy will hit his. I'm guessing there must be something wrong with his chest. Or
maybe.
Something. And I mean, the guy's in his 50s. I'm guessing maybe he has a heart problem. Or something. It seems it seems weird. You
shouldn't be catching people. You shouldn't be doing topes then.
You don't have to do it.
Yeah,
right? You don't.
There's no rule saying you have to end the match with a tope.
It's so funny. I'll watch him do that, and then I'll watch Cranio. Mm-hmm. Cranio looks like he's a pillow. I've seen it. I don't know if you ever seen you might have seen the match where he takes 3 topes in a row.
I haven't.
From the Stetas, the Mystico Mascara Dorada Valiente trick.
I'm sorry, I have seen that, yes.
Where they just take turns just hitting him. He's just he'll catch him and it's perfectly fine. There was a match where Guerrero Maya Jr. hit him, and if it wasn't for it being Cranio, he probably flips over and like dies. But it being Cranio, it just looks like he like a dart, you know, like one of those darts.
Like boom, target.
Like those darts with the what's that? The Velcro. Remember
Like the foam dart, the Velcro darts.
Velcro
Yes,
darts.
yes.
Kind of looks like that. Like he just lands on.
That's funny.
The other thing, oh god, you gotta watch this. There is a match where Mascara Dorada hits a tope. Mm-hmm. I'll even post it on your. I think I might have posted it on. I posted it on my Facebook page because Robbie Hard made a video of it, a clip of it. Mascara Dorada hits this tope on Euphoria. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for Euphoria, I think the guy would have died.
No way. What happened?
He goes like this. Euphoria's outside like this next to the guardrail. He goes like this. And instead of just like landing and falling forward or, you know, falling the normal way, he ends up landing this way, upright.
Oh my god, no way.
So it kind of looks like Euphoria catches him in the suplex.
Oh my god, that's cool.
It's not cool. It looked horrible.
Oh.
It looked like he was going to kill him. Like, because Euphoria I think just made
But he pretty much saved him.
Saved him from like falling forward, back or anything. But it looked like the most painful thing. And you know, it's funny because that happened to Mascara Dorada and nobody tops. There's this girl named Paloma Rouse who worked the WWL shows, and she does this tope where she, instead of like, she hits, you know how you hit the ropes? Mm-hmm. She hits the ropes and just falls forward. She just falls.
Oh, jeez.
Face first. I was like, oh, God.
You know, one of the reasons I didn't do a straight tope, as simple as it is for some reason I was bad at getting distance, and I just, and I didn't want to have the poor person saying, oh my God, I didn't catch him because he's lame. Yeah.
Dark Angel happened that Dark Angel scares, like, for whatever reason, Valiente can do Valiente special.
Yeah.
He does it flawlessly, and I still worry about it because it still looks
I think if I got into the gym and somebody said, okay, start doing topes, we'll catch you, I could probably get I know it's a simple move, but for some reason, I'm bad at getting distance. I'm just lame.
But it's hilarious, like, Valiente special Valiente can do the Valiente special, and it scares me, but I know it's nothing really bad's going to happen because he's so good at it.
Yeah.
And he's done it so many times that it's not going to worry. Like, he's already had his worst moments doing the move.
Right.
But Dark Angel does a tope, and it looks like she's going to die every single time.
Wow.
And she's not a bad worker either.
No, she isn't. And
she looks like, I think her dives are like the worst thing out of her whole thing. Like, I would probably like, if I would suggest to her, I would probably just tell her to like figure out a simple dive.
Well, that's why I do the pescado, the slingshot over the rope. It looks good, it looks cool, but I'll be the first to say I'm not much of a flyer. I'm not good at it.
Or if I was Dark Angel, I would ask Cranio, to show up one day and just like let me do topes on Cranio.
The reason I've never done a moonsault is because I'm a klutz at a backflip. I've tried it hundreds of times, and I did one successful one. I land on my head all the time.
I can imagine you doing a moonsault landing on your head. Oh,
well, here I am with Superboy. Superboy will get into the ring in his street clothes, not warmed up. He goes, "Oh, backflips are easy. You do this," and he does a perfect backflip. I felt like I was Raj from the show What's Happening. Yeah. The skinny guy who's klutzy, and there's Rerun doing all these great dance moves and flipping around. And
you know what I always laugh when I'm watching Volador Jr.'s matches when he does the Super Frankensteiner. You know what comes to my mind, right?
No, what's that?
The Arena Paraguayo match where you were working with Poder and like he was gonna do a Super Frankensteiner on you, and you like shoved them off or something. Yeah. And then like I go back and I'm like, were you guys gonna do a Super Frankensteiner? He's like, because I don't remember being in that conversation because I was translating for you in that match.
Yes.
And he never brought that up. Like I know he wanted to do a different. He wanted to do like some other move, and you said no. You nixed it.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, like, and I was there, but like the Super Frankenstein, I don't remember that being discussed.
No, he did. He just did a simple Frankensteiner off the second. He wanted to do it way on top and all that. And
think about this.
No,
it was Volador Jr.
And he was a lot bigger than me too. I'm not going to do that.
Volador Jr. Like he didn't look like Volador Jr.
Exactly.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was because we talk about all the, we talked about Shocker, Mr. Niebla, and we talk about drinking in Lucha. And everybody kind of gets upset about, these guys are all drunks and stuff like that. I mean, drinking and backstage is very predominant in Lucha Libre, am I right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's not just the one guy doing it.
No, I remember when I worked
There's just some guys who are moderated, like they know how to...
Oh, most guys, I'd say
moderation to it.
The majority guys I knew, most of them, like, this was kind of a thing I get nostalgic at, that was really fun. When I first started training at Gills, I think I'd go on Thursday nights, and after the workout, Gil had a really good workout. I mean, you got a workout. If you went there 3 times a week, you'd probably, and you ate a decent diet, you'd probably have a really good body on you because he made you work. But what was fun, at the end of each workout, all the guys would put money together, and they'd usually give it to me or one of the other beginners because there's a liquor store next door.
You were the liquor.
I went to get the Miller beer, and I had to get a special cans for Gil because Gil did not like it refrigerated.
Oh, really?
Gil wanted his beer, as he said, I want it hot.
Why? Oh, man, that's just...
He liked it room temperature for some reason. I know. And we would just sit around and drinking beer, but there would be 2 or 3 guys who, you could tell drank way too much.
Or they would bring their own drinks, right? Like
yeah. Then Jack Daniels, the guys who drank way too much. But most of the guys, it was just like, hey, click a couple of beers, and then who, I can't remember which wrestler it was, but there's a wrestler.
Because it really is a family atmosphere.
It is.
And that's what you do when you're with family.
Yes.
A social gathering. I mean, backstage.
And I gingerly sip it because I'm very strict about not getting behind a wheel inebriated.
Yeah.
So I'd be pretending like I was like taking a big gulp when I was actually just like a little sip. But I can't remember which wrestler it was, but he did that thing where he'd pours beer in a glass and then pour some Clamato juice in it.
Oh, geez.
That's the first time I'd ever heard of it, and I finally, after the 3rd time, said, that looks so gross. I didn't know it was like a fad, like people...
Really?
I had no idea that was a delicacy, and he says, hey, Huero, come on, don't knock it till you try it. I tried it, and it was great.
Oh, really?
And I tried Clamato by itself, and I almost puked. But mix it with some cold, like, Miller or Budweiser. It's delicious.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's really good.
I have no intentions of tasting that.
Elena and I tried it with, like, a nice IPA. It doesn't work. Yeah. It only works with, like, just straight beer, like a good standard beer.
Is that your drink of choice when you were watching WCW Thunder?
No, I turned
you never watched...
I turned it off and drank nothing but Clamato and Budweiser after that.
Thunder.
Yeah, but no, guys. I mean, and it's funny. I think it is. I think it is a job where if you have an addictive personality, it'd be easy to get caught up in it because you get. One, you do a lot of social drinking, and I bet you start racking up the bumps and bruises, the injuries.
Yeah, and then the pain medicine.
Yeah, you're going to want to drink more. The one thing, Conan could probably tell you better than I could, but it seems like you don't hear as many stories of guys in Mexico getting messed up on pain medication, like getting hopelessly addicted, as you do in America. And I don't know why, because it's really easy to get
all
over
dying
there.
of pneumonia now.
That's creepy.
That's weird.
That is creepy.
I heard
of
a flu. I don't know.
I can't remember what it was. I heard of a wrestler.
Ray Mendoza had it apparently.
Really?
Ray Mendoza Jr.
I did hear that.
Piano 5.
I can't remember who it was. There was somebody in the States who actually is out with pneumonia. And my first thought is, oh, please don't let this be another strain of it going around.
No, seriously.
It is creepy.
Yeah, because I know it's not. It's like the flu, right? It's like the H1.
Yeah.
Was it H1N1? What was it called? The swine
flu?
Wait.
It wasn't that one. It was
swine flu, right? I know it's swine flu. Because they had like 2 different names for it.
Yeah. There was another one, I can't remember what it is, but it's a strain that's really nailing people.
Yeah, this one's been getting a lot of guys.
But yeah,
it's so funny. You know how Mini Chessman passed away like
yes.
We even talked about it. So they're doing a tribute show for him.
I saw that, yes.
Yeah, and I put it on Facebook, and this guy from Mexico asked me, when did he die? And I go, man. You gotta remember, there's a lot of people cover wrestling who are very patient, very easygoing. I'm like the opposite. I'm like the worst. I'm like the one person that, like, if I tell you one time, it's like that's, you gotta like...
You're the source where I found out he passed away.
You have to be like almost apologetic when asking me because I might be in a mood or something. But it's like... So he's like, when did... And I told him he died January something. And he's like, from what? And I'm like, oh, seriously, motherfucker? Where have you been? Where have you been?
What has everybody been dying of in Mexico?
Oh my God. Where have you been? You're in Mexico, my God. But I was just laughing at that. But I mean... It's been like, I don't know what's been going on, but it's been pretty rampant.
I hope it goes away. I mean, it's creepy. I wonder. I think
we've had 3 deaths from it, and then like Cerebro Negro, he's okay now, but
Now,
he said he's going to take a couple of months.
Have we heard anything about the general population there? Is it a lot of people?
I don't know. I haven't done any research on the. Maybe we should ask.
I guess if you had
have Steve do research on it.
That's true. Sims is the man. Where are you, Steve Sims? Get back here,
Sims. If you're Steve, if you're listening,
knock knock.
Do some research.
I do like Big Bang, Steve. I'm so jazzed. Big Bang. 3 more seasons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just got signed for 3 more seasons. I don't want that show to ever end. It's awesome.
Actually, I've been watching that show for a while, so I can't. I told you, my niece thinks I have a crush on Kaylee Kuko. I'm like, well, I mean...
The crush I have is Bernadette.
Bernadette? The blonde, right?
The blonde who's married to Wally.
Yeah, I know.
She is so cute.
She looked like... Is she the voice of the mom? I think she is the voice of the mom.
I wonder, because remember that episode where...
when she does the voice, she sounds just like her, so I'm guessing she must be the voice.
She must be. Well, you know what I love about that show is when they introduce a new character... It's not just filler. It's a good character.
You know who I was somebody posted liked on Facebook Miam Bialik
yes
picture.
Yes mm-hmm.
I can't remember who it was. It had to be I'm guessing I can't remember who it was who did it. And I looked at the picture, and it looked nothing like her. She looked actually attractive in the picture.
Yeah, she's a cute gal, actually. But it's funny how...
No, she doesn't look attractive in the...
No, in Big Bang...
She looks like Blossom. It's Blossom. She still has the big nose, Blossom. You know what I mean? It's like... She still looks like Blossom.
She does, but she's cute. There's something about her.
Girl, you have some weird taste.
I like nerdy girls, which is why I like Bernadette.
Yeah. Well, Bernadette's attractive.
She is cute. She is so goddamn cute. Yeah, she is a doll. But no, that's such a solid show.
When is the Indian dude going to get a full-time girlfriend?
You know what? Remember they introduced that...
to the vet, right? To a vet? Or was that a different girl?
I can't remember her name, but it was the girl...
Oh, the skinny girl.
The social phobic.
Yeah, she's hilarious. Have you seen her? She does a comedy duo with... They're called like something Oats.
I was hoping they were going to keep her. I liked her character.
Yeah, she's hilarious. Like, she's funny.
And it's so funny. This guy who has a phobia of women is dating a woman who's phobic of just general fraternizing.
It's so weird. You forget that he has the phobia of women with her.
Yes, exactly.
You can't talk to you can't talk to the other women on that are dating.
Exactly, and so it seemed like they'd be
Except
such
for
a natural...
Blossom. He could talk to Blossom.
Yes.
He doesn't find her.
I thought it'd be funny if they got them together.
Yeah.
Yes.
They gotta find somebody nerdy like for him, like some from the past.
Totally. But no, the reason I find her cute is a woman could look average, but if she is funny, if she's comedic, and it does it to me. I had the hugest crush on Anna Gasteyer when she's on Saturday Night Live. And I always wondered...
I bet you there's people listening to this podcast now thinking TMI, too much information.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give you more. No, TMI...
Hey, Kurt, this would be the VIP portion.
Exactly,
of the podcast.
This is what we're going to charge for.
We would have charged.
And people will pay to listen to me, God damn it. They won't admit it, but they will. But I always wondered, where did I get that mojo, that kind of like that thing for comedic chicks? And then I thought back... My dad was never the type of guy who you never saw him like, you never saw him talk about, oh, she's hot, or, oh, that woman has a nice rack. My dad, very gentleman like that way, would, he'd say something like, oh, she's very attractive, but nothing like that. But I remember I was watching a Mae West movie, and he comes to the room, and he sits down, and like 5 minutes, I noticed he has this ear-to-ear grin. I could tell... He didn't say anything, but he couldn't hide it. I could tell Mae West, sexy, funny woman. So I think that's where I got it from. It's in the genes.
I tend to end up just liking every girl. So I'm a little too. I'm a little too much.
I've got very diverse taste in women, just like I do in music.
It's my downfall.
Amapolo's still my current crush, though.
And Kurt hasn't watched Estrellita in her police outfit yet, guys. So
I'm going to ask her to lend it to Amapolo.
You could bug him about it.
I do want to see that.
Which is hilarious. Like she for whatever reason, she looked in her schoolgirl outfit didn't look particularly great lately. To me,
I hate the schoolgirl outfit thing. It's weird.
The whole puffy thing. Her boobs looked a little too, like that thing looked a little too like weird.
And I never liked
when she's fully clothed. Mm-hmm. She was at the press conference. She looked attractive. I think for whatever reason, there's some women who can't pull off like the wrestling gear thing. Remember, we've talked about a local girl
You're right.
I won't mention.
Yeah, we won't mention her name, but yeah.
She looks a little more manlier. But like when she dresses normally, she looks perfect.
She looks really cute.
Did I tell you? I went to at my niece's open house, and her history teacher kind of looks like that wrestler that.
Oh no way! Really?
Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh,
So I kept telling her, let's go back and talk to her.
Let's see if she knows how to do an arm drag.
No, she was hot though. So.
That's why you really wanted to.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Very fun, very cute, very cute.
So,
well, we
anything else you want to know?
No, I think we covered a lot of
Rey
ground.
Mysterio changed his name
I heard. Oh, I did hear about that.
to Rey Horus, and now there's another Rey Mysterio.
Wow, and there's another Ray. There's another Ray.
Yeah,
There's
Ray
another
Horus.
king. There's another king.
Hey, maybe he could go to CMLL and change his name to Horus. Like they didn't have a Horus already. But they dumped the Rey out of the...
Or call him Horace. Horace Here's a Who. We'll make him a Dr. Seuss character.
It's kind of weird, like the whole name thing, because I don't really understand the whole... They've just mismanaged the whole Hijo de Rey Mysterio thing.
They should just give them different names. Just stop playing with it.
Well, it's a money gimmick, but I mean, it's just not working out,
Yeah,
you know?
it gets silly, especially when you have too many,
And then over a short period of time, I mean, it's so many guys doing it in a short period.
Right.
Like if you're doing it like this guy quit, and then gave like a year or two to let another guy do it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's like within like the same.
No, that's silly. You have so many people from the same generation using similar names. It's confusing to the average fan. Well,
we'll have to do a show where we talk about all the confusing names. Like
we'll do that soon. Maybe we should have that be special for the next show. Thank you for listening, folks, and we will be back again really soon. Obviously, there will be lots and lots of news to cover again, and maybe I'll have witnessed some of it even. So until then, may the right hemisphere of the brain short circuit the left hemisphere. May the left hemisphere short circuit the right hemisphere, and bing, you're there. Till next time, comrades, have a great 2 weeks, and we'll be back hopefully in
end of a show
2
ever.
weeks. Yes. Take it easy.